Welcome back everyone for a new weekly recap. And so today we had some big change going on for the plane, and so let's get right into it, and we'll see what we are going to do after. But first, that's the most important things this week. So I have kind of revised my consideration with the way I've built my training plan, because here's the deal. Initially, I've built it more as a way to explain to you how you build an annual plan, how competition are going to affect the way you schedule your plan in order to both be able to manage your competition and be able to perform when you need the most, and on the other side, still making gains and progress. But here's the deal. At the moment, I'm not competing. So I've built this around the PGA Tour cycles and so on. But at the moment, this is not my goal. My goal is simply to just be as fast as possible by the end of the year. That's the only goal. And so at the beginning, the first cycle actually made sense because I had kind of a dieting phase, and so after that, I needed kind of a recovery. And so the taper and picking act as a recovery phase after the dieting phase. And so it was great to have it that way. But now I realize that until almost, from now on until September, I kind of need to get more or less into a rhythm with training and not having ups and downs that are scattered by actual taper and picking. And so here you see, because what it causes is, here I had a massive mesocycle of 6 weeks, then a new taper and picking, then another big one, and then a small before a new taper and picking. So that just make it more difficult for me to make consistent gain by the fact that it's all over the place. But that's what trying to make gains while competing is about. Everything is all over the place. You have schedule and so on, so you have to make it work in some way, shape, or form. But at the moment, for me, it's just I'm making things harder for myself for no reason. So here I don't have competition, so that's why I've kind of rebuilt. So you see that here, those blue one, just don't pay attention to the color, but here it's kind of the deload phase. And so I've kind of rebuilt, these 4 weeks, the first 3 weeks of this new cycle was overload. Now I'm getting into a deload, then overload. And so I've kind of built this to be able to kind of create a consistent training for the next, for this month and the next 3. So that will be about 4 full months of consecutive mesocycles that have one and only one goal: making myself stronger and progressively gaining speed while maintaining the volume high. So mainly what it's do is we have the first phase here that was about dieting, losing fast, and getting strong foundation with the technique. Now we are in the middle part of the year, which is all about getting stronger, getting more comfortable with the motion, generating more and more speed while not necessarily putting more energy, but keep the volume high and trying to maintain a high level of speed throughout the whole session, and progressively increasing the speed all the way until I'm able to hit 120 miles per hour actually here. So the goal of this middle part here is reaching an average for session of 120 miles per hour. So this is not the goal of 125 miles per hour for the session, average for the session, but that's still already a good step forward. And so that's mainly what's going to do. So we have all the gains that I want to make. So I kind of revise also my goals in terms of, so here this is a speed goal, the max speed goal. Then we have the squat goal, bench goal, and a deadlift goal. So those I'm already quite close to have those. Actually, the deadlift I have it. The squat wasn't that validated, so I can't say I have it already, but I'm pretty close to it. And I think 120 I can get it very soon as well. So mainly this mesocycle is going to be more about consolidating. Also, because I've saw, just to give you an idea, that was kind of the previous speed increment that I have built before. Where here, this is a new one. The reason why is with the fatigue of last week, as you maybe you did not saw it, but during the session, maintaining above 114 was really hard. I had to push myself extremely hard to be able to do it. And I think there is multiple reasons for that. Is first of all, that was the third week of the mesocycle, so already I started accumulating fatigue. And since speed is highly dependent on fatigue, that started becoming more and more difficult for me to maintain the speed. And as well, since this was getting heavier and heavier with the workout, same. My body need more and more time to get used to it. And so what I'm thinking is here, okay, this week is going to be just a deload. So I'm not going to try to push. I'm just going to try to do exactly the same. On the speed side, I'm just going to try to do 112, which I think is pretty easy. Now I'm comfortable doing 112. So that's going to be not that big of a deal to actually do that. And I'm not going to hit that many balls as well. Deload is that means that you reduce intensity and you reduce volume. Or you can just reduce volume. So basically on the squats, I'm just going to try to, on the workout side, I'm just going to try for the deload to just hit the same numbers that I did, but just do one rep. I warm up, I build up to that one rep, and I do it, and then I move on. I don't try to do many reps to fatigue my body. Just consolidate the gains that I've made. Because since that's the first mesocycle of the series of mesocycles that we are going to do, I'm still relatively fresh. So, and that's also what because I wasn't really feeling well to be able, I mean, I could have maybe be able to do it, 115, 116 average for the session. But the issue is I would have, as I told you, I want to stay within 80 to 90% effort and not go beyond that. And at the Sunday session here, I had to really push really hard to actually. So I think that was pushing it a little too much. That for this week, asking myself to actually go for 115, and that's when I realized that actually the way I've built the training made sense in the context of, okay, I have to compete and so on, but here I don't. And the goal is to reach 130 by the end of the year. So I need to be methodical and do it and making it as easy for me as I possibly can to actually reach my goal. So here we've made some good gains. Now I'm able to consistently swing between 114 and 115. No question asked. So let's consolidate that. Then we have a new 114, which should be okay after 1 week of consolidation, making some gains, recovering from fatigue. That should be it. And so after 2 full weeks of consolidation, I think going then for the 115 average and then for the 116 average might be good. Then again, we will have a consolidation, and since throughout all of this I will get stronger, and I think probably I will be very close to those goals by the end of here. Even though that's not necessarily what I'm trying to do, I will be close. So I will become stronger and so on. So I will be somewhere able to kind of reach that level. I honestly, that's just a completely rough guess for the max. I'm not going necessarily to try to do it. It's like, sometimes during those sessions, I get into a groove and there is a big number that come up just because the full sequence went very well. And so that's just that. I'm not trying to go to 120 at this point. It's just that maybe I will have something like that. Because for instance, here I believe I got a 117.5. I got one, I think, if I remember correctly. Let's actually pull that off just to see. Yeah, 117.4, 117.5, you see. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at the moment. So and that was like I think I got a little bit after it, but that wasn't crazy. That wasn't that crazy. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for here. Just something that is not completely crazy, but yeah, I do it anyway. So I think it's and you see in terms of progress, since this is not scattered by multiple deload weeks, actually I'm making progress relatively at the same pace. And here during this because what you want is after multiple cycle of continuous overload, you can start accumulating some more long-term fatigue. So each deload take care of each deload of each mesocycle that you see here, and here, or take care of more or less the mid-term fatigue, like the monthly fatigue. But after multiple months of doing that, you can start accumulating some more long-term fatigue. And so that's why those 3 weeks here are going to be kind of, I'm still aligned with the taper and picking that I have put, but that's just a way for me to alleviate all the fatigue that I have accumulated over the last months, consolidating the fact that now I will be a player that swing between 115 and 120, because now I'm officially a player that is able to swing consistently between 110 and 115. No question asked. I'm now on the golf course. This is what I do. So then by being able to actually reach that point, I will be officially a player that is able to swing between 115 and 120 on the golf course. So that's kind of the 3 level I'm looking at: 110, 115, 115, 120, 120, 125. 120, 125 is the final goal. And to be able to do that, I need to be able to reach kind of a 125 average for the session, but I will push for the 130 just for the fun of it, for the goal of the year. But the main goal is mainly to be able to swing with 120, 125 on the golf course. That's what I'm looking for. And so during this, I will consolidate the fact that from now on, because if 116 is something that is deload, is a speed that I can do on a deload, it just means it's so easy. I don't even have to try to actually get it done. So that will mean I will have done the progress that I want. And you see that during this whole time, this is not 3 weeks, this is 4 weeks, because you have the deload of the last mesocycle, and continuing with 3 weeks of quote unquote taper and picking. So during those four weeks here, because here this week is more about, okay, I just do it, and then I keep doing the same weight, not trying to increase the weight, and just making it easier and easier for me to kind of alleviate the fatigue by not creating too much overload. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I think that's much better, because it's allowed me to get much more in a rhythm. Okay, 3 weeks of hard training, 3 weeks of hard training, 1 week of deload, 3 weeks of hard training, 1 week of deload. And so I think that's going to allow me, because this is really the big part here of the year. This is the core of the training that is going to lead me to get to my goal. Because I need to get stronger, because once I've reached those level of strength won't be an issue anymore for me to reach my goal. Then this is going to be a lot more about being able to generate more speed, power, and so on. So that's a lot more goal specific. And I will see, because I don't even know what it's going to be, but I believe that's kind of where I want to be. And yeah, I mean, I honestly, I don't know. That's the truth. I don't know, but I try to make it as easy and smart as I possibly can to reach my goal. And I believe that might be it. So anyway, this week, the goal is 112. So should be pretty easy. Deload week. There is just on the workout side, there is just kind of the heavy squat and light bench, which I haven't really gone to where I wanted. I mean, 200 is kind of I reach my goal. I mean, anyway, if I will, because I think I can have a shot for 115 with the bench. Not sure for the heavy squat I will have 200, but at least what I want to do is force myself to do more reps to get more comfortable with the 190. And I'm not sure I will see, but I'm not sure that I will go for the 200 deadlift because last week it was brutal. It really tired me extremely. But I think for the D-log, maybe doing a few reps at 190 might be enough. Might be enough. That's something I kind of want to think about. But yeah, we pretty much reached the end of this mesocycle, so I think I'm going to create a new tab for mesocycle 5 and move on. In terms of speed, so what did we have this week? Well, first session went good. 15.6 average is massive. But yeah, the next session was okay. But the one that was really hard, I mean, we got 14.6, but I had to give everything that I got to get that 114.6. That was insane. And also, we don't make a lot of gains here. But you know what? It's also because I'm kind of tweaking my technique still a little bit, and that's why also I think I need like a consolidation phase here of 1 or 2 weeks, because I've been tweaking a little bit my technique, which makes it difficult to generate more speed because I'm not yet comfortable with it. So I need to kind of work a little bit on that. So I think giving myself 2 weeks, because this week, the deload week, is going to be easy. So I'm not going to have to push that hard to get the speed. And then the first week of the next mesocycle is 114. I'm already doing it, and it's pretty easy to do it. So, okay, I mean, when I'm not tired as F. But, so I think after those, where I will have gave myself the time to consolidate the technique and get more comfortable, then going for the 115 or 116 could actually be done, not necessarily easily, but I should be able to do it. And then we have the 2 other mesocycle here. Those I'm really looking forward to, because that's just even thinking about, okay, I need to do 117 average for the week, because this is just to remind you, this is a weekly average. So if we get back to the speed, here you see that this is those number here. Here, those are the weekly average. So it means that every single session, if I want to get that above 114, I need to get all of those about 114. At least this is, I don't need all of those to be above 114, but in my mind, that's kind of what I'm going for. It's kind of, even though those are technically the average, so even though I can have 1 or 2 sessions below, what I'm trying to think about is just, this is a hard limit and should not go under. And so I try to do my best at every session to get the average above that. Because yeah, I don't want to be below those targets. So that's kind of, anyway. I start rambling, but I see that quite all I wanted to talk about for this. Also, I started working a little bit on the content, but since I'm making also, I'm starting a social media accounts about Tom Forest Survive, which is kind of the behind the scene of making the content that I'm going to make on this channel and my other social media accounts related about golf. But since I had a lot of fatigue recently and so on, I take it easy. So I'm still, I hesitate to start either at next week or the week after, but for sure the week after I will start producing content for you guys and so on. That will be next level. But for now, I'm building the foundation, trying to figure out the type of content that works, those who doesn't, and try to get some ideas that will actually work and produce more views to allow me to grow those golf social media, so I can actually just survive in some ways. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for the gym workout. Bye bye.